Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today is Sunday, December 23rd, 2018. Today, I'm going to recap yesterday's two NFL games, go over the college bowl games, college basketball, NBA, NHL, discuss the Week 16 games, and I'll make my best bet of the day. All right, let's start with football. A game that ended on a bad beat for some folks. The Titans defeat the Redskins 25-16. As the Titans go to 9-6 and Washington drops to 7-8. Marcus Mariota 10 for 13 and 110 yards. He was hurt though. Blaine Gabbert off the bench 7 for 1,101 yards and a touchdown pass. Josh Johnson 153 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. Second game, the Ravens defeat the Chargers 22-10. Impressive win for Baltimore. So they go to 9-6. Chargers drop to 11-4. Lamar Jackson 12 of 22, 204 yards and a touchdown pass. Phillip Rivers 23 of 37, 181 yards and 2 interceptions, certainly hurting his case for the MVP with that performance. We'll go back to the NFL games in a little bit. The college bowl games from yesterday. Wake Forest defeats Memphis 37-34. Memphis with arguably a bad beat as well, missing the field goal that would have put the over total, that would have forced overtime. So a good win for Wake Forest and a bad loss for Memphis. Army absolutely destroys Houston 70-14. Yes, 70-14. Fantastic way to finish off the season for Army. Very dismal way to finish off the year for Houston. Troy defeats Buffalo 42-32 in the Dollar General Bowl. Impressive win for Troy to finish out their year. Buffalo, not an impressive way to finish out their awesome year. Louisiana Tech defeats Hawaii 31-14 on Hawaii's home turf in the Hawaii Bowl. Louisiana Tech was just a better team, and I said that. So 2-2 for me on my bowl picks. I was a made field goal away from possibly going 3-1. College basketball, I'm just going to go through scores. Number 16, Wisconsin defeats Grambling 84-53. Number 3, Tennessee defeats Wake Forest 83-64. North Carolina State defeats South Carolina Upstate 98-71. Georgia defeats Georgia Tech 70-59. Georgetown defeats Little Rock 102-94 in overtime. West Virginia defeats Jacksonville State 74-72. Davidson defeats Central Penn 88-54. Holy Cross defeats Siena 60-57. American defeats Maryland Eastern 82-58. Lehigh defeats St. Francis, Pennsylvania 88-76. Campbell defeats Alabama State 70-69. Alabama A&M defeats Tulane 67-59. Villanova defeats UConn 81-58. Number 23 Iowa defeats Savannah State 110-64. Rutgers defeats Columbia 68-65 in overtime. Hofstra defeats Rosemont 107-54. Temple defeats Drexel 82-64. Brown defeats Marist 78-53. Niagara defeats Army 78-66. Fairfield defeats New Hampshire 63-57. Central Connecticut State defeats Maine 93-90 in double overtime. Central Michigan defeats Jackson State 81-72. Number 25 Nebraska defeats Cal State Fullerton 86-62. Clemson defeats South Carolina 78-68. Number 5, Virginia defeats William & Mary 40-72. Syracuse defeats Arkansas State 82-52. Miami defeats Florida Atlantic 75-55. Arkansas defeats Texas State 73-70. Texas A&M defeats Marshall 92-68. Cal State Northridge defeats SIU Edwardsville 85-79. Dayton defeats Presbyterian 81-69. Duquesne defeats Eastern Kentucky 85-84 in overtime. Stony Brook defeats Quinnipiac 76-73. Yale defeats Iona 99-84. Northern Illinois defeats Chicago State 100-59. Harvard defeats George Washington 75-61. Wagner defeats Hartford 77-68. Old Dominion defeats Morgan State 76-53. Missouri State defeats Arkansas Pine Bluff 93-72. Northern Iowa defeats North Dakota 64-62. Eastern Michigan defeats Siena Heights 90-72. Bradley defeats Southeast Louisiana 63-60. Cincinnati defeats South Carolina State 77-56. Richmond defeats High Point 74-59. Number 11, Florida State defeats St. Louis 81-59. Austin Peay defeats Liberty 75-66. LaSalle defeats Towson 57-51. Number 15, Ohio State defeats UCLA 80-66. Boise State defeats Pacific 83-71. Western Kentucky defeats St. Mary's 71-68. Memphis defeats Tennessee State 99-41. UMKC defeats Lund 95-59. Indiana State defeats Colorado 72-67. Milwaukee defeats Western Michigan 67-66. UNC Greensboro defeats Sanford 83-75. Nichols defeats Mobile 84-67. Boston College defeats DePaul 65-62. Number 4, Michigan defeats Air Force 71-50. VCU defeats Wichita State 70-54. Utah Valley defeats Sam Houston State 85-79. Weber State defeats Delaware State 83-69. Penn defeats New Mexico 75-65. Winthrop defeats Southern Illinois 79-71. Mount St. Mary's defeats St. Mary's, Maryland 83-44. Number 7, Auburn defeats Murray State 93-88. Rider defeats Northern Colorado 74-67. San Francisco defeats Stanford 74-65. Florida defeats Florida Gulf Coast 77-56. St. Joseph defeats Loyola Chicago 45-42. Santa Barbara defeats Idaho State 84-65. UNLV defeats Hawaii 73-59. Long Beach State defeats Colorado State 64-61. UC Riverside defeats Loyola Marymount 60-53. Louisiana Tech defeats A&M Corpus Christi 73-68. Evansville defeats Green Bay 80-75. Hampton defeats Howard 89-82. Number 19, Kentucky defeats number 9, North Carolina 80-72. Big win for Kentucky, by the way, much needed. Seton Hall defeats Maryland 78-74. Number 22, Indiana defeats Jacksonville 94-64. Kansas State defeats Vanderbilt 69-58. Number 17, Mississippi State defeats Wright State 67-63. San Diego State defeats BYU 90-81. Number 6, Nevada defeats Akron 68-62. Arizona defeats UC Davis 70-68. Fresno State defeats Tennessee Martin 93-53. UTEP defeats Wyoming 76-65. Drake defeats New Mexico State 66-63. Missouri defeats Illinois 79-63. St. John's defeats Sacred Heart 104-82. Tulsa defeats Oral Roberts 69-59. SMU defeats Cornell 81-53. Rio Grande Valley defeats McNeese 68-64. Montana defeats South Dakota State 85-74. Number 18 Arizona State upsets number 1 Kansas 80-76. Phenomenal win for Bobby Hurley. Grand Canyon defeats Mississippi Valley State 85-64. East Tennessee State defeats Norfolk State 89-61. Bucknell defeats Rhode Island 84-82. San Diego defeats Washington State 82-75. And TCU defeats Charlotte 82-57. Today's games at 2 o'clock, you have Manhattan, St. Francis, Brooklyn, SIU, Edwardsville, Northern Colorado. 4 o'clock, Coppin State at number 21, Houston. 4:30, ESPN2, Indiana State and UNLV. I like Indiana State in that one. Cal State, Northridge, and Rider. 7 o'clock, ESPNU, Colorado and Hawaii. Give me Colorado there. San Diego and Drake at 7:30. 10 o'clock, ESPN2, Bucknell and TCU. Give me TCU. 10 o'clock. Oh, it's not on TV. Washington State, New Mexico State, and 12:30 a.m. on ESPNU, Rhode Island at Charlotte, or against Charlotte. That's the Diamond Herd Classic down in Hawaii. NBA. The Clippers defeat the Nuggets 132-111. Clippers are now 19-13. Denver 21-10. The Wizards defeat the Suns 149-146 in triple overtime. Wizards 13-20. Phoenix 8-25. The 76ers defeat the Raptors 126-101. Philly 22-12. Toronto 25-10. The Heat upset the Bucks 94-87. Miami 15-16. Milwaukee 22-10. The Rockets defeat the Spurs 108-101. Houston 17-15. San Antonio 18-16. The Warriors defeat the Mavericks 120-116. Golden State 22-11. Dallas 15-16. And the Thunder defeat the Jazz 107-106. OKC 21-10 and Utah 16-18. Today's slate at 4 o'clock, you have the Hawks at the Pistons. 5 o'clock, the Wizards at the Pacers. 6 o'clock, the Hornets at the Celtics. The Suns at the Nets. The Bulls at the Cavaliers. The Heat at the Magic. The Pelicans at the Kings. 8 o'clock, the Timberwolves at the Thunder. 8:30, the Clippers at the Warriors. 9 o'clock, the Mavericks at the Trailblazers. And 9:30, the Grizzlies at the Lakers. Your NHL results from last night. The Maple Leafs defeat the Rangers 5-3. The Maple Leafs improved to 24-10-2. Rangers dropped to 15-14-5. The Bruins defeat the Predators 5-2. Bruins 20-12-4. Nashville 22-13-2. The Blue Jackets defeat the Flyers 4-3. Jackets 20-12-3. Philly 14-16-4. The Panthers defeat the Red Wings 2-1. Panthers 14-14-6. Detroit 15-17-5. The Blues defeat the Flames 3-1. St. Louis 14-16-4. Calgary 22-12-3. The Canadiens defeat the Golden Knights 4-3 in overtime. Montreal 19-13-5. Vegas 20-15-3. The Kings defeat the Sharks 3-2 in overtime. That game was on NBCSN. LA 13-20-3. San Jose 19-12-6. The Sabres defeat the Ducks 3-0. The Sabres 21-11-5 to Anaheim 19-14-5. The Caps defeat the Senators 4-0. Capitals 22-10-3. Ottawa 15-18-4. The Penguins defeat the Hurricanes 3-0. Pittsburgh 18-12-6. Carolina 14-15-5. The Coyotes defeat the Avalanche 6-4. The Coyotes 15-18-2. Colorado 19-12-6. The Stars defeat the Wild 2-1 in overtime. The Stars 18-15-3. Minnesota 17-15-3. The Lightning defeat the Oilers 6-3. An impressive win for Tampa Bay. They go to 28-7-2. Edmonton 18-15-3. The Jets defeat the Canucks 1-0. Good win for Winnipeg 24-10-2 on the year. Vancouver drops to 17-18-4. Today's slate at 12:30, you have the Blue Jackets at the Devils, 5 o'clock the Bruins at the Hurricanes, 7 o'clock the Panthers at the Blackhawks, 7:30 the Red Wings at the Maple Leafs. The Flyers at the Rangers are 7 o'clock. I accidentally skipped that one. 8 o'clock Islanders at the Stars, Kings at the Golden Knights, and the Coyotes at the Sharks. Now I'm going to go over Week 16 and go over what I'm looking forward to. I'm talking about today's games. At 1 o'clock, you have the Giants and the Colts. The Colts absolutely need this game in the worst way, especially now that the Ravens won. And in Los Angeles, the Giants are just playing out the string. No Odell Beckham Jr., Saquon Barkley chasing Rookie of the Year. The Texans at the Eagles. The Texans are the better team on paper, but Philadelphia is a 2.5-point favorite, and you have to wonder yourself, why are they favored by 2.5? I do think Philly wins this game. Not because they're the better team. I just think because they're home and Nick Foles. The Jaguars and the Dolphins. The Jaguars are just playing out the stretch. Doug Marrone is on the hot seat according to some reports. And then others reporting that he's safe despite a disappointing season. And the Dolphins are a team that absolutely needs this game in the worst way. They're still alive in this playoff hunt. And you have the Packers at the Jets. Aaron Rodgers is playing because he wants to prove to people that he wasn't the reason Mike McCarthy got fired. And New York just playing out the string. And part of me thinks that they want to lose to get an attention, to get a good draft pick. Todd Bowles is out anyway, win or lose. The Bengals at the Browns. The Browns are poised to put together a big performance even though they were eliminated from playoff contention last night with the Titans win. The Bengals, meanwhile, played well last week, due for a letdown this week. Another coach that could be in trouble is Marvin Lewis, but if he's brought him back, it's going to be because, they're going to use Andy Dalton's injury as an excuse. The Buccaneers at the Cowboys. The Cowboys need this game in the worst way to win their division title. The Buccaneers just playing out the string. And Dirk Cutter coaching for his job. The Vikings at the Lions. This is a trap game for the Vikings. Houses a 6.5-point line. They, meaning the Lions, absolutely should cover this at home, especially against a division rival. The Bills and the Patriots. I think that line's too high. I think the Bills cover but not win. And the Patriots are a team that needs this game in the worst way. They could jump into that first round bye depending on what Houston does. And then obviously Minnesota needs that game to inch closer to a playoff spot. Falcons, Panthers. No Cam Newton. The Falcons should feast all over Carolina. The Bears and the 49ers at 4 o'clock. Another trap situation for the opposition going into Santa Clara. That is the Bears. I think the 49ers win this game outright. Nick Mullins is playing himself A, onto a new team, or B, as a quality backup quarterback to Jimmy Garoppolo. Rams-Cardinals. The Rams need this game in the worst way to get themselves right. Arizona just playing out the string. 425 CBS, Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, and Tracy Wolfson on the call. Steelers-Saints. No James Conner. Pittsburgh looked pretty solid last week, especially on the defensive end. Their offense wasn't that great, but they missed Conner in that game. And the Pats' defense, well, their pass defense isn't bad. It's their run defense that's bad, which had the third-string running back had a monster game against the Pats. And New Orleans is a team that has to get right, too. Yeah, they won a couple games, but they've been very inconsistent lately, especially on the offensive end. Their defense has been okay, other than that first half against the Buccaneers. And then the primetime game on NBC of the Chiefs and the Seahawks. This game is absolutely phenomenal. Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson has a chance to make himself an MVP statement with the Chargers losing last night. And if Seattle wins this game, you're going to be hearing, Russell Wilson for MVP. He absolutely deserves to be in the consideration. And the Chiefs need this game too, but not as much as they've last night, because last night the Chargers lost. Now you can argue that they need this game a little less, and there's less pressure on them now to go out and perform and take back first place in that division. Meanwhile, Seattle needs this game too, because what if they lose and then they get tripped up by the Cardinals in Week 17, or they lose this game and then Minnesota wins their last two to leapfrog them? You never know. And if you're Seattle, you don't want to be going to the Bears. You'd rather be going to Dallas. If any way possible, Seattle better be hoping to go to Dallas rather than Chicago, because you rather face the Cowboys, who aren't good in big spots under Jason Garrett when the lights are shining the brightest, than the Bears. But you could argue you'd rather go see the Bears because of Mitch Trubisky and the lack of his playoff experience, and Mitch Trubisky could lay an egg. So that's your case for playing the Bears if you're Seattle. Now we're going to go to my best bet of the day, brought to you by DraftKings. It's a moneyline parlay. The Falcons over the Panthers, the Patriots over the Bills, the Browns over the Bengals, the Colts over the Giants, the Cowboys over the Buccaneers, and the Rams over the Cardinals. It's a moneyline parlay, so it's plus $2.97. I wagered $1 to win $2.97 with a payout of $3.97. That's it for today. I'll be recapping today's games, looking ahead to tomorrow's Monday night game between the Broncos and the Raiders. Go through college basketball, NBA, NHL. I'll pick the NBA Christmas games on the podcast tomorrow, because I'm not doing a podcast on Christmas. So we'll do a guess the lines for the Christmas games, and then we'll pick the Christmas games on the podcast. And then NHL's off for a couple days beginning tomorrow as well. And I'll go over anything else that happens in the world of sports. I hope you guys have a great day, everybody.